Hey everybody, it's the Vigilant Christian Mario here with another Vigilant review. And in today's review I'm going to be looking at The Secret, so the documentary, as well as The Law of Attraction. For people who don't know, in my past I used to be into the New Age movement, and this was a documentary, and also I read a lot of books on the Law of Attraction, so I'm speaking from personal experience. And I just want to make this video today as a warning. A lot of people don't see how destructive and dangerous this stuff is, okay? All this is, people, this is new, repackaged, modern-day witchcraft, okay? In Luciferian Satanism, packaged in a way that is going to be really appealing to you, and you're not going to realize that you're taking in some false doctrines and some doctrines that come from demons, all right? And that, right off the bat, a lot of you think that's far-stretched. Listen to this entire video. Allow me to give you my entire position on this, and then you're going to see it's not so far-fetched, okay? So right off the bat, The Secret, what is The Secret? Basically, The Secret is the law of attraction. It states that everything is energy in the universe, which is a true fact, okay? That everything is, but it says that like energy attracts like energy, okay? So if we have a certain thought pattern, it's going to create a vibrational frequency, and that vibrational frequency will go out like a magnet into the world, and it'll attract people, places, and circumstances that are in harmony with our thought patterns, okay? And one thing that's very destructive about this is it always plays into those things that we desire, you know, the big house and all these material things and external things that the world system and the media always program us to desire in the first place. So it plays in on this internal desire that's embedded in us, in our culture and society, to desire these things, to lure us in, and it sucks us in to this demonic false stuff, okay? Because The Secret doesn't work, plain and simple. People, you need to wake up, okay? If you're trying the law of attraction, I tried for years and years and years, and it doesn't work, okay? All it's supposed to do is suck you into more and more of the occult, satanic philosophies behind it, okay? Because now, it wasn't enough. The Secret wasn't enough, because if it was, and it worked, people would be going to get the DVD, coming home after, and then it would be verifiable. Within a week, a month, or 2 months, or whatever, they would have their big house and their big cars, and this would be a huge thing. Everyone would buy the DVD, okay? But that's not how it works. It doesn't work. What it leaves you doing is making you feel desperate, because you had your high hopes, you had your vision board up there, and you had your big reality, that your big dream planned out, and it never came to pass like it was promised in the thing. So now you need more. What did I not understand? What did I not get the first time? And then they come out with something called The Secret behind The Secret, okay? And now there's another one called The Power and The Muse, and there's a whole series of them now, and there's just more occult knowledge, so it leads you in more and more and more until you find yourself into a new belief system, okay, that I'm going to prove to you is satanic, and it's just a new form of witchcraft, okay? And God specifically told us to have nothing to do with this, all right? So one of the things I want to examine is, like I said, they market it as the key to everything, okay? And you need to pick that up, okay? That's how they lure you in. They make you think that this is the secret, you know? If you don't know this, you got to know this. You got to know the secret. And then they lure you in, all right? And who is it that's really behind this movement? Well, Esther Hicks, okay? I'm going to focus in on her for this video. There's other ones I could do maybe in future videos, but I want to hone in on her because she did a lot of work when it comes to the law of attraction. In fact, I was already reading her books on the law of attraction before I saw the movie or the documentary. This is the one that I've seen, Esther Hicks and Jerry Hicks, The Law of Attraction. So she was a pioneer in this. This is another book I read called Ask and It Is Given, so Learning to Manifest Your Desires, all about how the vibrational frequencies of the universe can be, capitalized by just thinking a certain repetitive thought pattern, and that reality will be attracted to you, as if life is that easy. And it kind of teaches you that you are a God, right? That you can create your reality, that you don't need God. God is not the creator of things. You're a creator, okay? And that's why it's satanic. You see how this leads into this satanic philosophy? Now, the important thing is, where does she get this? Okay, if you go to her website, and that's what I did here today, abrahamhicks.com, okay, you're actually going to get, if you go to her about and get a little description on her, and I'm going to read this to you, it's going to tell you how she gets this information. Now, she claims to be in communication with spiritual beings, okay? She doesn't just make this stuff up. She says spiritual beings that are called Abraham communicate through her this ancient, powerful wisdom that humanity has lost throughout the millennium, okay? So That's where she's getting this. She's getting this from spiritual beings. Now, I'm going to suggest to you, those spiritual beings that she's in communication with are demons. First of all, you're not supposed to channel. She's a channeler, okay? The God of the Bible specifically forbids his people to have anything to do with that, okay? You're not supposed to communicate because God knows that there are fallen angels here on this earth. And what are fallen angels? Angels are spiritual beings. They're beings that aren't like humans. They're not subject to death and third dimensional frequencies and realities that we are, okay? They're in the higher spiritual realms, in the higher dimensions, okay? So that's who she's in communication with, and they're the ones that are giving her this knowledge, and they're fallen angels, okay? And the angels are even said in the scriptures that what they can do is masquerade themselves as angels of light, okay? In the Bible, in 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 14, it says, "And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light." Okay, so Satan, Lucifer, this fallen angels that the media makes you manipulate your mind into thinking, oh, he's got a pitchfork and he's just some fabrication that crazy ignorant Christians make up. He's actually not. He's a very crafty spiritual being that resides there, who's in rebellion with God, who has a third of the angels from heaven rebelling with him. Okay, and they transform themselves as angels of light. As you see on the screen here, this is how Satan's going to come to you, as an angel. Okay, that's how I was channeling over 30 spiritual beings. And they didn't come to me as demons. They came to me as wise, benevolent spiritual beings. Just like these spiritual beings, the group of spiritual beings called Abraham, appear to Esther. Okay, that's what they are. They're deceivers. They're just angels that are wolves, okay, in angelic clothing, okay, and they're going to lie to you. They're just, when Christ talked about these beings, these spiritual beings called fallen angels, he said they're the masters of deception, okay. Satan, like I said, he doesn't come with his pitchfork. He comes like a snake. He slithers his way in, and he deceives you into believing the doctrines that he has, the philosophies that he has, okay, that you're your own God. That's demonic. Ye shall be as gods. That's what he's been trying to convince us since the beginning of time, these fallen angels. And it's no surprise that that's found in her writings, that they teach us that we're just one cosmic energy field and that you're God, everything's God. That's satanic. And of course, these spiritual beings that are in another dimension masquerading as angels in spiritual masters to her are deceiving humanity. And the Bible even says that they have the whole world deceived. Okay, so we need to become aware of these things. So I want to read to you here what it states on our website. It says, Abraham is a name. It's a symbol, a feeling, evocative yet simple, like we want our names to be. And this is one thing that the fallen angels always do. They always try and sound way ahead of us, okay? When I was in communication and I would let one speak through me, my vocabulary would go up. It would sound, everything I would say was so deep and mystical, and it's captivating, okay? They know how to deceive people, so they know how to suck you in, so they make you feel like, wow, this person's really spiritual. So that's all they do, and that's a typical demonic thing that fallen angels that masquerade as angels and wise spiritual teachers do. But then look at the question, but who or what is Abraham really? Okay, and they even pose it. And of course they have to elaborate on their website because they don't want you to know the truth like I'm telling it to you here, that that they're fallen angels and they're deceiving. They need to tell you their perspective of what they are. Okay, and then they go on to explain how they're spiritual beings and that all they are is consciousness and this and that, okay, and that's not true. They're fallen angels, and I fell for those lies from the fallen angels for a long time. Okay, Louise Hay, which is, if you're familiar with the Hayes publication in the New Age movement, they're huge when it comes to being publishers for Dr. Wayne Dyer and very prominent New Age gurus and teachers. She said about Abraham, they're some of the best teachers on the planet today. Okay, listen, they're fallen angels, and this entire movement called the New Age movement is in communication with them and looks towards them as wise spiritual beings when in fact they're being deceived by these spiritual beings, okay? Even Dr. Wayne Dyer says they're the great masters of the universe. The reality is that they're great deceivers of the universe, and they have Dyer and Louise and Abraham deceived under their mind control that they have over people, okay, and their lies that Satan has imposed on the minds of people, okay? And that's why when I became Christian, amazing grace, I was once blind, but now I can see. So I can see these things. I can see that they're being lied to and the lies that they're imposing on these people. Okay, it even says a veritable who's who of authors, speakers, and teachers continue to publicly acknowledge and praise the immense amount of wisdom that is pouring through Esther. Okay, so it's coming through. So she's a channeler, and it even goes on, to specify that she's not channeling. Okay, she even goes on to say Jerry and Esther never use the word channeling. Of course they don't, because they don't want you to know the truth that she's channeling, that the Bible specifically says not to channel, okay, and that's a bad thing, and not to do it. Because the one thing that they forgot to do is to test the Spirit. Okay, if they would have read the Bible, they would have read in 1 John chapter 4 about discerning false prophets. Okay, she's a false prophet. Okay, it says, "Dear friends, do not believe everyone who claims to speak by the Spirit. You must test them to see if what they speak of comes from God." Okay, so don't believe her just because she's speaking from a spiritual being that's given her, that spiritual beings are speaking through her, so she's speaking on the behalf of the Spirit. Don't believe that, because not all the spirits come from God. Okay, and it says you must test them. Okay, and this is how you know if the Spirit is from God. If that person is claiming to be a prophet and it acknowledges Jesus Christ came in a real body, that person is speaking from God. But if someone claims to be a prophet and does not acknowledge the truth about Jesus, that person is not from God. Such a person has the spirit of Antichrist, which you heard is coming in the world and indeed is already here. Okay, so if you were to ask her about Jesus, she wouldn't tell you that Jesus is some powerful spiritual being. She would, or some powerful God and the Son of God and the Lamb. She wouldn't say that about him. She would say that he's an avatar, just like the Buddha and all these other great teachers throughout history who went through a stage of evolutionary evolution in their shift in consciousness, and they achieved godhood and God realization, and therefore transcended death and all this stuff. And that would be her Jesus. That's a false Jesus, and the Bible even talks about that people would be talking about and creating false Jesuses. Okay, that's not him. That's a false Jesus. So she doesn't proclaim the true Christ. So, according to the Bible, she's tested. She's a false prophet, and she's speaking on the behalf of fallen angels because she's doing channeling, which is forbidden by the Bible, because channeling opens you up to the deception of the deceiving angels who are fallen and can now masquerade as angels of lights. That's what this is, and that's where the secret comes from. The secret comes from fallen angels and witchcraft. Okay, do you really want to be following this? If you don't believe in spiritual beings and you don't believe in spirit, you shouldn't even be following this anyway. Okay, it doesn't even make sense. You shouldn't. Logically, you'd have to think that Esther's crazy. But if you don't think Esther's crazy and you think she's communicating with spiritual beings, I want to press you to question, who are those spiritual beings? Are they really who you think they are? Who she thinks and says they are? How do we trust them? Okay, God says don't even communicate with them. Don't even open yourself up to the spiritual, to mediumship and channeling and those things, because you're going to be deceived by these fallen beings. They can come to you as whatever they want. A lot of them come as a dead relative, okay, to deceive people. They'll come as Abraham. They'll come as all these spiritual wise beings, the ascended masters, the archangels, and any shape, form, okay? Star beings from the Pleiades. They can come to you as whatever. It doesn't change the fact that they're all lying, deceiving snakes, and they're slithering their way through and into your life and deceiving you and making you a victim of false doctrines. So this is the Vigilant Christian Review for The Secret and the Law of Attraction, which gets a big 0 and gets a warning. Don't have anything to do with this. I wasted so much time on this witchcraft and this false stuff, and I didn't know it was even witchcraft. And that's the key. They're not going to make, if you're sitting back there and you're going, well, it's not witchcraft. It actually is. It's just repackaged. Satan's powerful, and he's good at repackaging his stuff, because he knew you wouldn't take a child out and sacrifice him with a pentagram. He needed a new form, an appealing form of still his lies, okay? And this is just a new repackaged way for him to deceive now you, okay? Because there is only one truth, and Jesus is the truth, okay? And that's another thing that these spiritual beings will teach, that they're at the heart of all religions. That's what it even says in Abraham's thing, that Abraham is at the heart of all religion. Yeah, they're at the heart of all false religions, okay? There is one truth. Jesus is the way. He's the only one who's going to save you from the lies of these fallen angels and Abrahams and these type of satanic conspiracy mind control things that they're imposing on you. So, Vigilant Review, stay away. 0, spread this to friends and family who are becoming victims of these lies, and pray for them. So God bless each and every one of you, and stay vigilant, the Vigilant Christian.